Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Becoming Iris. Today, I am speaking with a beautiful, lovely lady named Kat Gray. Welcome to the show, Kat.
Thank you for having me, Iris.
So, Kat and I just returned a week ago from a pilgrimage to Egypt, and that was a very special and life-changing experience for all that came. But I first became connected with Kat a few years ago, and it was actually around the Lionsgate portal in 2022. And we connected online and had shared some experiences and different things that were happening and different weavings in our life. And then that sort of has manifested into meeting in the real life, which was amazing, a reunification of souls.
Are you a starseed? Do you have a mission here on Earth? Do you sometimes struggle to fit in? You're in the right place. Join me and special guests as we share our personal stories as galactic ground crew here on Becoming Iris.
So I've invited Kat on to share a little bit about herself and her journey and what she's doing now. And I know that there's many different things that you do, Kat. So I'd love for you to just share in your own words, who it is that you be in the world, what it is that you are working with at the moment, and anything that you wish to share, really.
Thank you, Iris. Thank you. And I think it's funny that we connected 2 years ago on Lionsgate and we met in person on Lionsgate in 2024 this year. So it's, of course, divine timing. Nothing is quite a coincidence. So why don't I give you a little bit of a backstory before I really dive into what I do? Because I find that with all of us in the spiritual energy, consciousness expansion field, so much of our past informs who we are, what we do, who we become as these new iterations of ourselves. So I grew up all over the world, really. I've lived in 8 different countries. I got moved around a lot as a kid, as if my parents read my birth chart, Sagittarius, that was meant to truly travel all around the world and feel home everywhere and nowhere, really. And the last 24 years of my life I were spent in the United States. So I feel that is the continent of North America has become my home more than anywhere else in the world. Last year we moved to Dubai, so I am currently in United Arab Emirates. That is my host home right now, but America really was home for the longest time. And I, like many of you listeners will probably be nodding to this, I grew up conforming to what my parents thought would be the safe career, the path that would bring you success as defined by our society. I went to university for economics and Mandarin Chinese, worked in advertising, worked in product development and business development and all kinds of very 3D things. But from very early on in my career, probably right after university, I had this voice in the back of my mind that said, this is not what you're here to do. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. And it was probably 20 years worth of that voice saying, this is not it. This is not it. This is not it. I spent 10 years in the corporate world, quit when I turned, I think it was right around 30, at that point, the voice got really loud. And I started a creative business. I got trained as a jeweler. I started working with gemstones and crystals. Funny enough, my grandfather was a jeweler, so I always have that in my genetic makeup, I think. And I worked with crystals and making these statement pieces. And there was something about the consciousness of the stones that just spoke to me, that I couldn't resist. And it wouldn't be conscious messages, but there was something about the healing and who they were meant for. And I had one client that had like 70 pieces because she would say, these changed my life. And, I'm addicted to them because of the way how they make me feel. But I was not fully conscious at that moment. I ended up having kids, leaving that business, starting another, growing another business, selling that business, and experiencing severe burnout. My healing journey and my spiritual awakening journey really began with a very dramatic burnout experience where I spiked a very high fever. I passed out, hit my head, got a concussion, got up, and ended up still going to the post office to drive the 400 orders or whatever it was to mail for, because they had to be sent and I forgot to schedule a postal pickup. That's the place that I was in. My mind was still very much, it's my way, or, it's not going to get done, and all the things. At that moment, that was really my wake-up call. And I sold the company and embarked on a healing journey. I started doing Reiki and other energy healing modalities, all things wellness, as many of us will experience the awakening through the health crisis, and this wellness entry being, health and wellness being really the gateway into it. And I remember receiving Reiki, and the first experience of receiving energy and seeing colors, and really feeling and seeing colors and all the things. And then going to see a psychic and asking for direction in life. And she said, "Why are you here? You're clairvoyant, you're clairaudient. What are you doing here?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And she said, "Think back to your life. Think back to this last thing that you did." And I looked back at the company that I had, and it was a little girl's jewelry and apparel company. And I literally channeled the creations. And I could remember feeling like this inspiration coming in and me channeling it into creation, and then posting a picture of it. And then suddenly it was 20,000 followers and everyone wanted that necklace and all the magical things. So I was like, oh man, I am intuitive. I am that. And I remember that was January 2020. And then March 2020 was when I was woken up in the middle of the night to a voice. I picked up my phone and I started typing. And this voice basically said, "You're here to deliver the message of heart-powered living. You're here to teach others how to incorporate mindfulness, how to incorporate wellness, how to incorporate creativity, to awaken your intuition, to reconnect to your heart. And your company is going to be called Heart-Powered Living." And being a very strong-minded Sagittarius, Aries rising, I was like, oh, heck no. Heart-Powered Living? No, 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 no. I want a cooler name. I'm going to, go this other way. So I created this whole brand around inner transformation and all the things that lasted 3 months, because the voice that woke me up in the middle of the night, that called itself the energy of love, didn't stop. And it started getting louder and louder and louder and louder. And I embarked on the journey of training as a meditation teacher, sound healer, space clearer, Reiki healer, all the things. As many of the listeners who've been on this path, who are embarking on this path, you're like a kid in the candy store. You just want it all. You just want to experience it all. You want to train in all the things. And that was me. And I was really like a seeker. I was a spiritual seeker, still very much not listening to that voice, not listening to my heart's voice, and really seeking with the mind, wanting all the answers, wanting to figure it all out, wanting to understand consciousness, energy, galactics, communication, all the things. I did listen when they said you have to make space and time to connect to yourself. And every day I would do my favorite meditation, my metta meditation, and I would sit and watch the sunrise, and I would receive the information that was coming in, and I would write it down, and I would share it on Instagram. And that was the beginning of it 4 years ago. So a couple months later, I renamed the company to Heart-Powered Living, and that's what it is today. So fast forward to today. I'm sorry, that was a super long introduction. Today, I am the owner and the operator of Heart-Powered Living, and I wear a lot of hats in it, but the main goal, the main prayer, I guess, for my work is to guide women to reconnect to the truth of who they are, guiding them back to themselves, guiding them back to the heart, guiding them to find their passion, their creativity, to remember who they are at the core of it all, and also their feminine power, that fire from the womb to the heart to the throat that wants to birth creation, that wants to birth a new world. And I do that through coaching, through mentorship, through energy work, through soul guidance readings, and through mentorship in the soul-led business realm. Yeah. So that's that's that. That's my story.
Thank you, Kat. And I feel that with the heart-powered living, what I love about it is that as you evolve, your business is evolving, because it's not like, it feels like it has so much scope. Because if you're encouraging women to keep coming back to themselves, but you keep coming back to yourself, it's like as you evolve, your business evolves, and it's just, you know, everything to me is encompassed through the heart. And so it could never be boring or static, because it's constantly evolving. And I feel that when we were on this journey, you were sharing a bit about your business and the new things that you're calling in, and the new maybe threads that you're weaving. So would you like to talk about that, or would you like to talk about Egypt? Like, where would you like to go next? Because I feel that so much happened on that trip, and maybe they're interwoven together, but where would you like to go next?
They're 100% interwoven together. So thank you for bringing this up. The piece about, so I think in the last, first of all, 20 to 22, many of us were living in a vacuum. I think we can all agree the imposed by whether it was authority, whether it was our local community, whether it was self-imposed, spirit imposed, because we did need to be in that vacuum for self-discovery and all the things. But many of us were in that space. And I'm sure many of you listening will agree that we fell into this comfort zone of doing things online and really weaving our soul tribes and connecting to each other online. And we never, some of us forgot the joy of connecting to other soul family and like-minded, like-hearted humans in person. Some of us never really experienced it, because the bulk of the awakening really happened during the pandemic, right? Where I'm going with this is doing these retreats and pilgrimages, which we can't really call the things that you and I are talking about retreats, right? They're not retreats. You're not retreating within, really, because more than anything, you're coming in your field and you're merging with other people and you're merging with other places and you're expanding. And one of the things I am calling in is doing more of these work with women, female entrepreneurs who are stuck in a world of this is all that there is. And sometimes we need to be taken out of our bubble, out of our familiar community, out of our family unit, whatever the relationship with our partner is, our kids, and be taken somewhere else to a magical location that will activate us. And there's actually a message that came through before we started recording that I will read, the channel message, where they talk about how our souls, and I'm sure you know this from working with Akashic Records, our souls have a very vast history here on Earth, and our the past lives that we've had have been in several places, right? And a lot of us have left breadcrumbs for ourselves in different places. And when we travel somewhere, whether it's conscious travel or just leisure with friends, family, whatever it is, there's always something to be, we're drawn to places where there's something to be retrieved, to be activated, to be unraveled, to be whatever it is. And I find that Egypt has that power for, and holds that like a vault for so many of us. Like, I bet most of us have had several lives there. Anyone listening, anyone around you. And there are many ways to travel places, right? One can go and experience Cairo as a busy third world country with pyramids that look shabby and, overrun by tourists. Or you can go and have an experience that is activating, that is rejuvenating, that is nurturing. Even in the chaos of it all, you are exposed to the wildest magic that even your imagination can't quite grasp. And I know you and I know what this feels like. And I think we want to share that experience with others and find ways to not make it mainstream, but make it more accessible and not seen as like, oh, retreat, it's a luxury. No, this is actually, it's going to blast you out of your orbit and like put you in a completely different place. I think we can, I'll speak for you, but please correct me if I'm wrong. We came back from Egypt, not the same people. We're all different, the group that went. And every trip is like that. And you don't want to say it's upgraded. It's not one is higher than the other. It's we've come back dripping in gold, like retrieving these queen codes with our feminine power unleashing. Yeah. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I feel it's, for me, it's to do with remembrance. And, you're talking about going and retrieving breadcrumbs. There's certain places where the way I experienced it was like these archetypes coming in. So these aspects, which we can all relate to. We can all relate to the archetypes. But there's certain ones which are more resonant for us that we, whether that's, people are drawn to India or they're drawn to, wherever these powerful lineages are, could be Peru, it could be Egypt, there's something there for them. And so for us, it's like everyone in the group has this something, I feel, that's been unlocked or come alive. It's aspects of them, it's aspects of these archetypes, however you want to imagine it. But what I feel is that it's all in the realm of service. Like when I see the group and what they're talking about, it's how can I bring this thing alive? How can I offer this to the group? How can I, how am I going to channel this energy or do this or offer this? So it's for us, but it's bigger than that. It's so much bigger is what I feel. And I feel that you want to share about as well. Like I'd love you to talk about what that is for you or some of the things, because there's probably a lot.
How crazy can we get on here?
You can get as crazy as, I just invite you to just fully express yourself, because that's the whole point of this podcast is to tap into those aspects of ourselves, and nothing is weird. Nothing is weird. So welcome.
So I'll share. This was my second time to Egypt. My first one, that if anyone is interested and if what I'm talking about resonates and you want to read more, I documented my first journey to Egypt, which was like 18 days, very intense experience on Substack. It reads like a book with pictures, with channel messages. But the first time I went was December 23, led by Saranaya Soleil, who is absolutely an incredible facilitator and guide. And it was 19 sisters going together. And I was already channeling a lot of the Egyptian consciousness for the soul-led business program that I run. But I wasn't quite receiving anything for myself. So I knew I had a connection with Sekhmet, but I didn't have any recollection of being places or anything like that. And as soon as I got there, it was like, oh, you're home. And the guides tell you, welcome home, like welcome home, right? When you're there. And that's what it felt like. I was home. And the first temple where that really, we went to Temple of Edfu, which is Horus's temple, and it's giant. And I would walk in the temple and I would run my hand along the wall, and I would have this, even now I'm getting chills talking about it. I had this clear recollection of telling the people who were putting the hieroglyphs on the walls, of telling them what to write on the walls. And then I walked into Newt's chapel, which is in that same temple, and I had this vision of me standing facing the morning sun, and I would hear, "You're the priestess of the morning sun." And what I would do is I would look at this morning sun and I would receive information from it. And then I would go and tell them what to put on the walls. And they would say, and I would say, "This is not a prophecy of the future. It's a recording from the past that talks how life unfolds and how light wins." Because what happened after Atlantis, we basically descended into darkness, into density, and our hearts were calcified, and we lost connection with our higher consciousness. And this experiment, if you want to call it, was designed as a way for us to find our way back to the heart, back, because the heart is a portal, is a pathway to our higher consciousness, to the divine, to the universal highways, to all of it. So that was the first image that I had, was I've been here before, this is what I used to do. And then since that trip, all of these things started unfolding with, it wasn't just that one lifetime. I've had lifetime after lifetime after lifetime where I would speak to the sun, where I would speak to the stars, and I would tell them what to put on the walls, or I would put them myself, or I would relay that information to the pharaoh, to the king. And that was a huge part of many lifetimes of doing that, and being a wisdom holder and a wisdom carrier. So if you're okay with it, I'm going to read the thing that I channeled this morning, because it's connected to this. Life is a mystery, but it's also an open book if you're willing to allow your heart to read it for you. The book of life. That's what's written on the walls. That's the legacy we left behind, because I wasn't the only one, and I'm sure somebody listening might have a remembrance of this. Mysteries revealed to the heart, interpreted by the heart, not the mind to connect and interpret. The codes hidden behind the images, the hieroglyphs, cannot be understood by the mind. Your soul is the interpreter. Your soul has been there before. Your soul has had many lifetimes there. Touch them, feel into them. Allow the stone that holds your soul's golden threads to come out and back into your body, into your heart. Let them unfold, untangle, reveal themselves. Ultimately, it is all about your journey, your soul's history. You're a puzzle piece. Understanding your own puzzle piece is much more important than trying to piece the whole picture together. You will drive yourself mad and still only see a tiny corner of the whole puzzle piece. One can only focus on understanding themselves through the archetypes, through nature, through incoming frequencies. If you understand yourself, you will understand all. If you focus on the all, you will lose yourself. What do you choose? And they talked about, it's like akin to walking through the physical Akashic records. And you might go to Edfu and you might feel completely different energies, discordant, like not for me. And you might go to Philae and have the most soul remembrance there. And what they're talking about here is our part of our service is on ourselves, right? Like we're working on ourselves. And as we're doing that, we are able to hold so much more. We are able to receive so much more. And that's when we start receiving. Oh, okay, so you did that piece for yourself. Now your work is connecting the dragon song lines. Here, go to this place, take this rock, do this, be guided, because you have been working on yourself instead of really trying with the mind to piece it all together, because that really, it still keeps you in the mind, right? It still keeps you in the figuring out, in the understanding with the mind. And they always talk about, it's not about what you know, it's how you be, how you hold it, how the frequency that you're radiating. And it's, we know that, but do you really radiate it? And if you want to talk about all things greater planetary service, I think this trip that we were on was connecting the different tribes, different lineages, bringing the dragons and the dragon song lines from different parts of the world, connecting them and weaving them together and activating them at the peak time, Lionsgate, at the spot where the throat chakra, exactly at the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid, where it was really important to be, for us to be at that time. And yeah, to do the grid work that we actually, you know what, I don't like the word grid work. There has to be another word for it, because I don't feel that's what we used to call it. It was just part of our what's the word? Earth walking, earth keeper. That's the word I like to use a lot. I'm an earth keeper, as are you, as is anyone who's listening, probably. Yeah. Did I take us somewhere in the wrong direction, or are we still on track?
That's perfect. Yeah, it feels like earth magic. Like it's tapping into something in the earth. It's tapping into something in us. It's like a reciprocal exchange. And when we're at these certain places, at these certain times, alignments, there's these portals that open. But the whole thing, if I had to sum it up, it just feels magic. It's like we're tapping into the magic, we're channeling the magic. To me, this 888 portal, the overarching theme that I felt was around abundance. And, you know, I'd love for you to talk into this too, Kat, is like our group and us individually, we had to go to a new level with what does that mean? And like what I've been talking about and sort of, I guess, working on for myself and harnessing is like, how can I hold more abundance so that I can channel that out, so I can steward it out, because we're shifting into a time on the planet where there's a reconfiguration of the financial systems, the structures, who has money, where that money's going. And there needs to be people like us who can be responsible with where is that money going to go. And so there's a lot around this topic. There's so much to say, but I'd love for you to share about what unfolded for you with regards to that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for asking this. So before I forget, while you were speaking, when you mentioned the archetypes and what I was hearing is, well, of course, because you're all of the stars. So you're channeling the star frequency and you're connecting the star frequency back to the earth. You're connecting earth back to everything. It's like you're weaving, and I'm seeing almost like the planet is in the center, Gaia, right? And she has all of these golden threads running through us back to the stars. And she is more held because of who we are becoming, how we are becoming open channels for divine love, will, truth, abundance, all of it. So it feels very, really important. And I think we are entering the era of everyone truly remembering our galactic heritage and not getting lost in it. Who am I? What am I? But in holding that I am of the stars. Okay, how do I incorporate that and live that truth now? Okay, so that felt important to presence, or it was gonna leave and not be anchored in the physical. Okay, abundance codes, money, all things changing hands. And for anyone who hasn't read the book, The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist, strongly recommended. I was just seeing the cover of the book. Strongly recommended. It's fantastic. Soul of Money. So exactly a year ago, I started channeling this thing that I now call the pyramid codes. And it came through as a way to rewire us into the energetic template and framework for New Earth businesses. We all know, we can all agree that things can't work the way that they have been. The greed, the corruption, the big pharma, all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. But most of us, what we do is we complain about it, we go in message boards, and we're pouring energy, that energy still towards it. We're not building new. Many people are building new in a forest, in a conscious community removed from everything else. But I truly believe, and I see this, that there are more of us who are here to channel technology, channel engineering, channel healing modalities, channel it all, and change the cities, change the structures, change the government structures, all the things, and not be removed in an isolated community. And for these individuals who feel this but don't know how to do it and what to do, this is what the pyramid codes was coming through. It's coming to rewire us, because ultimately we have to change the code within us. We have to start to see ourselves differently, not as victims of what we were given, but as creator beings. And that's what Egypt teaches us, that they did not forget that they were creator beings, and the archetypes really try to lay the foundation, put it in the walls, that you are creator beings and you're so powerful. And part of this belief is that I am tapped into all. I'm tapped into source, right? I'm tapped into the energy as I'm giving it out. It's coming. And if you can imagine a toroidal field moving around you, or if you can imagine a figure eight from your chest, from your heart, going out into the world, and then as you're putting out your energy, your love, your service, the money that you're putting towards whatever cause, it's coming back to you in a figure eight, in abundance, in help, in whatever is needed back to you. So that's the primary restructuring that we all have to go through, is to not see, when I'm offering a sound healing, it's me offering it to Iris and Iris pays me for it. Iris is but a funnel, a vehicle through which the universe sends it back to me, right? That switch has to be made. 1. 2, there is any work that we do, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're just holding the frequency and being this battery of love, there is the energetic anchoring that needs to happen. And I see this as pyramid temples. You may see it as something else, but I see it as you sort of like putting the stake in the ground and saying, I'm here to be this channel of light, this pillar of light, this funnel for abundance to go through. And I'm willing to serve, and I will do what you will have me do. I will not allow my mind to control, and you have to work on that. So there's that anchoring. And then it's stepping into the leadership position, even if you're not feeling like a leader of anything, but it's claiming that, call it queen codes, call it whatever it is, it's the leadership and power. Understanding that even if right now in this moment, not a lot of money, not a lot of energy is running through you, it's okay. You're opening yourself up to be that. And you're starting to do as if you were. So what happened to me in Egypt, and I'm going to show you, if you're on YouTube, you get the pleasure of seeing my huge broken arm situation. On our last day, I slipped and fell and broke both bones in my arm, and had to be, in a very dramatic manner, rushed to the hospital, and then take an overnight flight home to have surgery and all the things. But when I was in the car going back from the hospital, looking out the window at the crazy traffic, the poverty, all the things, something clicked in that moment. So all through the trip, we had several conversations of, oh, look at those horses. They're so mistreated. I wish we could do something. I wish we could bring them food. Or, oh, like there's these children that are selling bookmarks on the road. Like we can give them money, but what else can we do? Right. And in that moment, the back of my mind, I have been thinking of running these trips that are around personal transformation, personal development, that are about bringing entrepreneurs together, that are about going to places that activate. And this final fourth piece fell in place. It is about impact. If we're claiming that we are new earth leaders, if we are birthing the new world as we are being guided to, we have to put our money and our action where our words are, like, and our thoughts are. We have to. So, and I came back, and I know I was still on the meds that they gave me, and I was talking nonsense to you, Iris, about this, but it came back. And as soon as I landed home, I was like, okay, what is it? There is a hospital that brings in volunteers from all around the world for horses in Egypt. Okay, can I send them money? How can I bring awareness to this? Where is their headquarters? Like, what can I do for that? Like, I asked our guide, and he was like, oh, there's a huge orphan problem. And I was like, what? So I found a Coptic orphanage, and I, shared the link to donate school supplies, money towards school supplies for them. And now everywhere I go, my goal is to bring awareness to whatever causes are. Maybe it's women, female businesses. Maybe it's really something around what's being guided by spirit, being guided to these causes, to highlight them, and allowing the women that come, and men, to pick causes that they themselves connect to, and sort of like take under their wing. Or like, maybe it's not that, maybe it's something else for them. But the belief that the more we give, the more is given has to be, sometimes you have to practice it before you see the results, right? But that is the core belief that has to land in all of us, and has to, that's how we shift. That's how we shift. It's not by hoarding money. It's not about thinking of worst case scenarios and, of ourselves. It's knowing that we will always be guided. We will always have communities around us. And it's up to us to step into being these wider abundance funnels that are just open. We're just open, huge, not straws through which abundance flows, but giant, those, like, what are they called? Culverts, whatever those are called, like, like the giant ones that that money flows through. And doing it, small doses. Okay, $20 for the school supplies, and really not just being like, okay, check mark, I sent that money, but actually consciously connecting to the organization, to the child that will receive, and blessing it, blessing the money, infusing it with love. And if you read Lynn Twist's book, like, it will really land with you, this piece about leading a committed life and understanding how money is energy, money is love. And if we can change the energy of money, we can truly change the world. And also not being like, who am I to touch it, to I can trust myself. We got to work that out. We got to rewire that in you. We have to rewire it. Like, we need you now. We need you now.
I love that. And it's also a thing of, because that's definitely something that has come up in me, is I can't be trusted with money. I can't be trusted. And, who am I to have money, and all of these limiting beliefs, which I feel a lot of it is, it's soul memory, it's ancestral, it's all the things. But if you look at currently, or up till now, who are the people and organizations, like, where has the control of money been, and what are their philosophies, and how do they, move with money? It's like, well, actually, all of a sudden, we're looking really good to be trusted with money, because if you're moving through the heart, if service and the welfare of, like, certain groups is at the helm for you, if that's, you, like, a lot of people who'll be listening to this, they may not actually consciously know, well, this is my mission, this is my purpose, but they have a feeling about, they want to help people, They want to make the world a better place. They have all these, ideas. And so that, to me, these are the type of people that should be in control of the money. It's the mothers, it's the grandmothers, it's people who can see, like, and astrologically speaking, we're moving into this age of Aquarius, and that's about going back to grassroots, black structures, where when money comes in, it's distributed between the community, and they can see, okay, these people need this money, and there's this cause, rather than like that old pyramid structure where very few people at the top are making decisions for the whole group. And I feel like that's what you're talking about with, practical, real boots on the ground stuff. Like, okay, there's horses that don't have food. Okay, so can we give money to them? There's children that don't have an education. Can we give money to them? And when everybody around the world is doing this in their own communities, in their own countries, that's when we have like a tsunami of change from this being rippled out through the collective. So it's exciting. It feels like, and I can just feel this groundswell of movement, of potentiality, of so many people in all these different places lighting up with this inspiration of, I want to do something, I want to make a difference. So, Kat, I would love for you to share about what you're imagining at the moment, what's coming alive in your business. I think since you've been back from Egypt, there's obviously been changes and things that you're working on. And so what would you like to share about what you're offering and how people can work with you, and what's sort of like exciting you at the moment?
So the thing I want to say to answer this question actually ties in what you just said, because, and it makes me really emotional to think about, because if you were to ask my husband, pick a cause, he's like, well, all causes are important. I can't pick one. And you freeze, right? The only job, like literally, if you ask any soul, if you connect to a higher self, any soul, they'll say, your only job is to stay connected, and allow yourself to be guided. You will be guided to exactly the cause, to exactly the thing. And don't answer to the fear that is saying, well, but I have this bill to pay. It's like, if you feel like giving, give, right? And like Dalai Lama famously said, it's the Western woman that will save the world, because as women start running more money through themselves, through their businesses, that's when the world shifts, truly, because it's the heart that is controlling the money, not controlling, but filtering the money through it, and the money changes frequency in its way, it's elevated. So for me, what's alive right now is being a guide for women who want to build businesses, who want to, in any business that we are building, it's always going to come back to mindset. The mindset of, oh, I can't handle money. Oh, I'm an imposter. Oh, who am I? Who am I here to lead? There's always the energetics that are needed, right? The staying in the heart, anchoring the business in the ground, in the connecting to the guides, kind of channeling all of the creation that wants to be birthed. And then there's the execution, the strategy, the marketing, the how do you invite people in? How do you ask people for money? Whatever it is, right? So that's what's really alive in me, is being a guide and empowering others to do this, so that we can build that network. Because without the network, we cannot shift. We can't just do it one person here, one person there. We need to connect. And that really, I feel, is yours and mine role, is connecting these networks of light, so that we can share the wisdom, share the codes, activate each other as we are collaborating, as we are birthing whatever we are here to create, to birth through ourselves. What came through after Egypt was, I knew this already, but it really became so strong in me, is that my focus is really the women who are mid-30s to early 60s or mid-60s, whatever it is, no age limit, who feel that that something ended for them. This first part of their life is like, okay, I was this version. I'm ready to step into this new second life. And what they call the golden era, like the Atlantis had the golden age, Like, this is the golden era that through the heart, through reclaiming their queen codes, their feminine magic, their leadership, the combined with the pyramid codes, all these things, that's what I truly want to bring through to anyone I come in contact with, whether it's through free content, Instagram, newsletter, Substack, podcast, whatever it is, or through the one-on-one work, programs, whatever it is. So that's really you could say it's my focus, my interest, the thing that just lights me up, that I know will keep evolving. And I know the Heart Powered Foundation will be birthed from it, that generates more money and raises funds for whatever causes come through. Maybe we'll be building a mobile horse hospital and feed in Egypt, and whatever it is. But I think if we can all connect, live that connected life, okay, I'm disconnected, I'm on autopilot again, I'm in my mind, I'm stuck in my ego. Snap back into the heart. Okay, all is revealed. It's being present. It's so simple, right? Like, so simple yet so hard. And just opening yourself up, claiming this place that you're here to, this role, and it will be revealed. It will be revealed. And we are here as guides for you if you need help seeing it, being motivated, being encouraged, being given blueprints, being given shortcuts, community, being held in community. And that's the bulk of it.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you so much. And I'm going to put your links below so that if people want to connect with you for one-on-one sessions or mentorship or any of your offerings, they can do that. And do you have anything specific that's starting soon, or any trips coming up? Like, what have you got in the pipeline at the moment?
I have the Empowered Creation. It's a year-long journey. It's 9 months of pretty involved work, and then 3 months in the summer of support, ongoing support. So year-long journey of really birthing whatever business you are here to birth, create. It takes you through everything I've been talking about. It takes you through that in a very, very involved way. There's 2 live calls a month. There is a very well organized curriculum. Every month there's a different guide, different transmissions. And you get me as a guide for, like, when we connect, like, all of this intuitive stuff starts coming through. And I say, I have a gift of seeing people's timelines and future visions. It's a gift and a curse a lot of the time, because sometimes it's like, it's better not to know too far ahead. But that's starting in September, and as long as you join by end of September, it's that's what's starting. And it's my favorite thing to do, working with women who feel that fire, like the womb codes, that the seeds that are ready to explode and birth something. And it's open now, and it starts in September and ends in August and runs in September to September, basically.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing. And I'm sure that there'll be other stories to come in the future. But I really value our time and connection and all the magic that unfolded in Egypt, and I'm sure will continue to unfold. So thank you so much. It's been an honor having you here, and lovely for you to come and share your story.
Thank you so much, Iris. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.